This we have Buddy with us. We have Aaron. We have Brian S. Red. And from Swinging Temecula, California, Jay is here with us.
The
And
illustrious one.
illustrious, yes. So
Don't look that word
I
up.
read an article, but before we do that, let's take care of some business. One of our sponsors been with us a very long time, DJEventPlanner.com. And when this goes to YouTube, there are others there as well. You just click on more, and it really would help keep this up and alive, the Disc Jockey News, if you would patronize those sponsors, particularly DJ Event Planner if you don't use it. So, on with the show. And John shared on his DJ page a it was an article that surprised the daylights out of me because it normally those type of articles are like, how to get a cheap DJ or Spotify your own wedding, that kind of thing. And this one here actually had some very, very nice things to say. And it was pretty much how brides could save money, simple ways that they could save money. Guess what the number one thing was? Take a guess.
Don't get married.
Well, besides that, guess what the number one thing was chair covers.
Oh.
They said they're totally unnecessary and it's thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but if you have cheapy chairs, maybe because everyone out here uses Chevare chairs or chair covers,
Mm-hmm.
it does kind of make it look a little. I guess I'm just used to seeing them week after week.
Ah, okay. So yeah, jump in anytime. One of the other things was candelabras on like harvest tables that it kind of obscures, people's views and stuff. And they said you could save a lot of money on that. And they did things like bathroom baskets. Like it's really unnecessary because most women would bring their own makeup and perfume. So they pretty much is a waste of money, according to them. Um, they also mentioned like sparklers send off. Like, if you have a large enough wedding, by the time you get all the sparklers lit, the first ones that were lit, they go out and it usually doesn't go well. They said, avoid that. I don't know if anybody has thoughts on that. And here's a big one that I haven't seen in quite a few years, unless, you're out in Brian's territory where they have late night snacks. They said, yeah, skip on that, you know?
I look forward to that. I love the midnight snack. It's always a neat thing to see what they're going to bring out.
Well,
Something
what are you
creative.
doing? What are you doing? 8-hour weddings? I mean,
Yeah, they're long. Like we don't get done till after 1 o'clock in the morning, so
well,
they are a bit longer.
yeah, that
So
that makes a difference. Around here, they're either 4 or 6 hours, and that's it. But they've already had a big meal. You know, the event's over by 10.
yeah,
Most likely, because of noise ordinances and so forth.
what's
To
interesting
save
is
money in this day and age, I think skipping all the
Hold on.
envelopes and the mailing.
Go ahead there,
Okay,
Brian.
it's okay. No, let him finish. It's all right.
no,
I don't want to take over the show either.
no. We've all heard the cutting the DJ thing before and trying to save money that way, but I mean, in this day and age of electronics and computers, ditching all the paper envelopes and the invites via mail, everything should be done through email. I mean, that's a good way to save money in postage and stuff right there. Just off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention the food thing, the late night food thing. We call that beer pizza here, and the theory behind it is, well, first of all, I'm in Wisconsin, and they drink like fish here. So the school of thought is, if they eat something, it's going to help absorb the alcohol. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the theory. So
Yeah.
if
Maybe
it's
on
done
happy
right,
days.
huh?
I said maybe during happy days. Ooh, if I have a couple pieces of pizza, I can drive home now.
Well,
No.
what I'm getting at is if you have a meal, right? I mean, you've seen some of these meals. It's like a little piece of meat and some potatoes and some Brussels sprouts or whatever. It might not fill you up. It'll give you something to eat. I don't know many. I haven't been to many weddings aside from buffets where if it's a sit down where you're getting a meal where you're just going to be like lethargic afterwards. It's a nice, little piece of meat. It's a nice potato and a veg or whatever. And some people don't even eat the whole thing. But as the night progresses, yeah, have a bite. I've seen it when it's done catered, where they spent some money on it. There was one that I did one time where they had a bacon bar. It was amazing. Like chocolate bacon and pepper bacon.
Right.
And it was, and I know they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on the bacon bar. I've
They
also,
had to.
I've also seen them bring in like local pizza,
Yeah, local pizza. And I've seen the food trucks late and come up. But
Sure. I
what
was
I
just
don't
going to
like
suggest
about that is if you bring a food truck, everybody leaves
right.
the building. That's
I was only going to suggest that, if they do the late night snack right, if it's appropriate, if it's something they feel like they need to do, you can do it on the cheap. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You can spend a couple $100.
yeah. But like I
It's not a
said,
big deal.
pizza's perfect
Yeah,
for
I got a
something
funny
like
one.
that.
My groom took off from a wedding, came back with 200 cheeseburgers at midnight from Wendy's. What? I'm like, you
Yeah.
kidding? Like,
Anything.
I've never seen.
I had an In-N-Out food truck show up and serve burgers, but it was a part of the ending. It was, hey, we're going to do the bride and groom's grand eggs.
Okay.
And as they went outside, everyone joined them, and then the truck pulled up, and then I came back and said, oh, and by the way, after the grand exit, join the bride and groom for a midnight snack of In-N-Out. Well, you're at a wedding all day, getting In-N-Out late at night's a huge deal. Like,
Yeah.
had to be
Okay.
expensive.
Next one on the list is really complimentary to the DJ here. It says ceremony musicians. Oh, my cousin's really, really good guitar player, or yeah, my sister can sing really well, and or even just hired people. Um, they say it says here that your DJ will provide a much better service with the music that they can play. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, Howie, the big thing in the room, because I've certainly faced this as you and everyone else has, where they say, I think we're just going to do string quartet for the ceremony. I'm like, oh, okay. So you won't need my services. No. I'm like, oh, cool. So they're providing a PA for you guys to talk through?
Huh?
Right.
Wait a second. I'm like, yeah, it's literally the same charge because I'm using the same equipment. So you can have them play, but it's not going to change the fee structure.
Right.
Oh, and the only downside becomes, yeah, we're bringing a guitar player in and they show up. And I've learned the hard way a month out. I really need to speak to them so they understand what I need for them to interact with my system. And I tell brides and grooms all the time, I don't care if it's your mom, your dad's that's playing. If they show up looking for amplifiers, I'm not going to be providing that. Because they do. Guys have shown up with an electric guitar and been like, where am I plugging in? You're not.
You're not.
Well, I mean, every DJ uses, I'm not. I'm using this controller because I'm providing these two microphones. You're what we call SOL. Now I've got to find a third mic, run to a speaker to plug on a stand and, be professional. So just let us handle it.
Okay, the next thing that they advise couples to save money on is a slideshow. Whether you're doing a big TV or, a projector, they've done surveys and they're saying most people don't pay attention to those. They're just kind of a waste of money. Nobody wants to see your fifth grade picture. Nobody wants to see where you first met at the, In-N-Out burger. Nobody cares,
Quite cynical tonight, aren't we?
Well, no, I mean,
it's all positive stuff. They're saying good stuff about us, but
Right.
yeah.
save them money, but not cut the DJ out. They're not recommending a Spotify playlist in this one.
No, but if they're doing a, and I don't have a projector, so I'm always like, no, I'm not doing that. But I've always recommended go get a monitor. Go buy a nice monitor that you want to put in your office, like a 32-inch, 36-inch. Get a loop, plug it in, and then all night long have this in the corner playing your video montage so that people can look throughout the evening, or put it on an iPad next to the memory table or someplace so people get to interact that way. Because you're right. Nobody wants to sit for 20 minutes and go, ooh, ah. But they might go over 10 times throughout the night and go, oh, come here. You got to see this photo. You're in it. And they can definitely better.
That's a service I offer to my customers, is having a memory kiosk, putting the TV off to the side, usually the place cards are at, and let them run that slideshow there. Because again, you're 100% right. Grabbing people, make them sit down, watch this big long thing of whatever. People don't pay attention to it. So I think that as a money saver, that's a smart thing of not doing a full on thing like that. And do it off to the side, because it's much cheaper and economical to do that versus a full on, production for a full slideshow.
I've told people to go to Walmart and buy a $150 TV that has a little USB drive in it, put it on your gift table, and it's going to be cheaper than having me do anything.
Right.
And then the night, throw it away if you want to. It's still going to be cheaper.
All this is coming down to the same fact. We're giving all this advice as the DJ to save them money while they're using our services. So, yes, I think people get lost in, oh, I'm going to take this out because of the DJ. It's like, no, the DJ told you. I have a doctor, I did their wedding 15 years ago. That was the first time I said, you should just get a monitor. And his dad bought them. Like, back then it was more expensive, like a 42-inch TV. And that's what he gave him at the end of the night. And he thanked me. He goes, I didn't know what to get him. They told me about your idea. Thank you so much. I ended up doing his brother, her sister, her brother's weddings. Like, everyone was happy, but it's that idea of try this.
I just had a weirdo thought. It's
cool.
So how many people in here have done like holiday parties for companies? Like, I think everyone's done them, right?
Yep.
And if you want to get people excited for some dumb reason, they're still excited about the TV giveaway.
Oh yeah.
There's that's the main prize. Like everybody doesn't already have a TV, but they get excited about it. So what would happen if you did that at a wedding where you had the TV as the slideshow, and then you told everybody, we're giving the TV away at the end of the night, but you got to be here to win it. We keep them around.
That's
a great. Get rid of the damn thing at the end of the night.
That's a great idea.
It's just a dumb thought, Well,
and then you don't have to carry it either.
That's good.
Yeah, you don't have to carry it.
You're right. Someone has to even get rid of the thing. It just goes away.
They may want it, though. Plus, now you got some guests from out of town, and they win. They won't take the flowers out here because they're staying in a hotel.
That's their problem.
Imagine watching them walk out with a 42-inch,
I think they're ridiculous, too. My point is, every time I do a holiday party, the stupid Vizio crappy TV over here is what everyone gets excited about and sticks around for.
They do.
I don't know why they do, but they do.
Because they're getting it for free. Basically.
But yeah. And it seems big. Oh, it's 40.
That's the big prize.
Yeah.
What do you see at our trade shows? Look how important a free t-shirt is. People are wearing it the next day proudly. I mean, that's a comment on how people treat things that they're given.
Right. Okay, the next thing up here is to save money, and just because it's kind of played out, is the memory tables. Like a loved one has died and they put a special table out, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a celebration. And according to the survey, people do not go over and look at pictures of dead people. I mean, maybe that means something to the bridal couple, but I did one where they lit a candle and she put her dad's picture up there. And I think it was her and her husband were the only ones that looked at it. Nobody, was off in the corner. Nobody bothered with it. So
Is that a money saver at all, though? I mean, that doesn't usually cost anything.
No, it's just ideas, simple. It's things to nix from your wedding. So some things are money savers, some not so much.
Sure.
Just general. And this is going to be very interesting for you folks. The next thing is specialty lighting. Like they're showing a picture with dots all over the place, and they say, listen, your DJ can provide you with elegant uplighting to make your event special. And I was like, wow, we get mentioned twice in this article, you know?
Well,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is.
So let's see, what's the next one is, a guest book. They said most people, yeah, they don't. I mean, you're already getting a card or money or something anyways. Right. And here's one that, you know, I think we've talked about this before, is the bouquet and garter toss is kind of phasing out. I haven't seen it for a long time, especially, you know, putting the garter on, you know, the woman's leg and stuff. It's just kind of played out.
It used to be a given. Now it's kind of the exception to the rule if somebody wants it. It's just, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, there's a creepy factor to it as well, because
it's uncomfortable.
It is,
you know,
especially when I stepped right in when, okay, a young girl, and she wasn't even a teenager, caught the bouquet, and here was this 24-year-old that caught the garter, and I went right up, and I went and I put my arm around the guy, and I whispered in his ear. I said, be a gentleman, just walk up and hand it to her. Do not touch her leg. Because you could see she was terrified. So,
yeah, those are always, I mean, kind of like a wait and see, kind of a loosey-goosey kind of thing.
Right.
Do the rule, you know, let's see who catches what. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's creepy.
Yeah.
Depends. We've got to kind of monitor it. I've told the clients that who want that kind of thing. It's like, let's make the call on whether or not we have them dance together or anything at all.
Right.
So maybe we just say, thanks a lot, everybody. Let's get on with the party and leave it alone.
Right.
You know,
just kind of leave it as an afterthought, so to speak.
But it's just doesn't happen much anymore.
I think you still have to offer it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, they would
actually, I don't think they did.
You know, for me to do it, I don't know.
I don't
ask my opinion. You know? I tell them that the garter is much less popular than the bouquet.
Oh, yeah.
That's my opinion. I probably do a garter. I do a bouquet at probably 80% of my weddings, and I do the garter probably 40%.
I have famously said before that a cool way to get rid of the garter or the bouquet rather, is during the anniversary dance. So the couple who's been married the longest, give the bouquet to her. Yeah. Done and done.
Yeah. I love that idea.
Done and done. It's a really cool
I love that
thing. You know, people are going to remember that. Mm-hmm. It's sweet and it avoids anything creepy or uncomfortable or come on, single ladies. What's wrong with her? Well, I don't know. Nobody's married her yet. Something obviously wrong with her.
Well, right. But again, you got to be conscious of if they really want it. I don't think it's a place to talk them out of it.
Oh, no. Right. I've never talked to anybody out of anything, but I don't encourage it either. It's like the first thing I tell any of my clients
is money dance, and I don't think it looks good. The way I do it looks good, but 90% of my clients say no to a money dance, and 89% of them say yes to the honeymoon dance. Because I don't have to mention money.
Right.
All I tell them is, look, you know what you're paying me per hour, right? Do you really think you're going to top that with anything you do, collecting dough?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes up here anyway, it's cultural. Where
ding 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 ding.
No, it's more Italian and Greek actually.
Redneck is what it is, Brian. Let's call it what it is.
Okay. Jay's been here. He acts like we don't have indoor plumbing.
Well,
Wow.
you got a lot of facades up. I noticed they were very thin walls.
We're almost at the end here. This one is, I don't know, I've heard so many, and to me as well, kind of played out is games at the wedding, like ring toss, tic-tac-toe, uh, cornhole. Wow. Like I could see that for the after party if the wedding was in a backyard or something. But that just seems kind of weird to me to have games like that that would take away from, the dance floor and people socializing.
But they all have
I
that
bet you're having
because they're outside and it's early in the night. So it's like
Are you
they
guys
need to keep people busy.
are you doing that, Jay? Are you having this?
100%
Really?
of my weddings have. I don't get it either, but they're there. I don't know if the venue owns it, if they're renting. I never asked. So if they're renting them to bring in, if the venue owns them and offers them, but 100% of my, if I'm an outside winery, and understand, I've only done 3 indoor weddings in the last year. So
Right.
everything's outside. They all have those stupid lawn games, but
They
the
call it
upside is
cornhole,
cornhole. Yeah.
the bean bag toss thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you've got kids there or youngers that may not want to dance or whatever, that could be sort of a thing to keep them occupied. But I agree with you, Howie. I think it's just keeping people away from the dance floor. And
Wasn't the show earlier tonight about games?
They
Or
did mention that was only part of the show, but they
came
did
in late. I was trying to
Yeah.
yeah, and then
They did mention them that they're pretty much getting away from them as well, except with the exception of like releasing the tables game because the caterers behind the caterer comes up and says, "Cover for me for 10 minutes," and you got, "Oh, okay, we can do
Right.
some." But okay, here is this would be the last one for this, and then we can open it up to any odd things that but favors, giving people favors, like, little jars of, candy or something, or even worse, when you buy that cheap bottle of red wine and have your own label with your logo on it. Can you imagine what that costs? Like, let's say it's only 100 people. They're going to charge you at least minimum $10 a bottle, and I mean, I'm looking at this picture here, and there's like a bag of nuts, with their I don't know.
we see the kisses a lot here. Like Hershey's Kisses and wrapped up in a little mesh thing.
Yes.
And at the end of the night, I love to collect those and just bring them home because I like Hershey's Kisses. Nobody takes them. And I've seen the wine thing before, and the only time I can remember seeing it was when just eat it. You know what he's doing? He says this is for it's my granddaughters. You know what he's doing? He's waiting for it to expire, and he's going to call his granddaughter, "Honey, I'm sorry, this thing expires in 2 hours. It's gone," and he just eat it.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. No, but they're bottling their own wine. Like if they're making their own wine,
Right.
they're giving away their own stash. But yeah,
that's even worse.
It's $3 wine, like something Jay would drink,
Ripple.
and they just put a label on it, with their monogram.
I'm not on the rich side like you guys. I'm too busy doing events.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to kind of add to that, or that or trends you're seeing there?
It's almost like reducing fractions. I think when you look at everything people want for their event, especially a wedding,
Mm-hmm.
flowers and this and that and all this stuff, and if you really think about what's really important, what's the real important thing, it would be self-serving for me to say DJ, because that's part of it, but not all of it. The important thing's your audience. That's who's important. That your friends and family are there,
Right.
and there aren't many times that my family's ever gotten together where they don't, they're just talking. I don't have to engage them. I don't have to coax them in with prizes or food or anything else. They just come and they haven't seen each other in a while and they just have a good time. So much of the stuff is, I mean, I understand a client who wants it, but the necessity of it, what's necessary, what's really going to make your event better are the things that I think about when, anybody consults me on this stuff. And I got nieces and even my kid who got married. I mean, she did it herself, but she lived around this her whole life. She kind of knew what she needed and what she didn't need.
Right.
And she didn't have a lot of filler there.
Aaron, you're up in the Great White North. Is there any unusual or different than what we do down here?
Not really. We've been kind of doing the same as what we've been talking about, like as far as the weddings go, and cutting back on the games that we were talking about earlier. I think we're down to maybe the shoe game 1 every 5 now.
Yeah.
And, like that's even being phased out where people aren't even doing that anymore. Yeah, it's just like, hey, let's get this done, do the ceremony, let's eat, let's dance. Cut out the filler, let's get to the good stuff. And like my last few weddings, with the exception of one, I had one that was very speech heavy because it was an older couple. Aside from that, yeah, it's like, hey, we want to eat and dance, let's do this. And I do 10 minutes, done. Ceremonies are done in 10 minutes. They're at the table waiting for their drinks. And I've even had clients say, like, when the drinks start, we want you mixing full on. We want up tempo, upbeat. We want people even like almost dancing at the bar. Sure. Let's get the party started. People just want to party. And I think maybe it was a result of the last 3 years where people couldn't. And they're like, let's go.
I noticed that too. They were ready. I mean,
yeah.
My gosh, even at the festivals I've done, first band comes on and they're jumping up and down like, because, 3 years you couldn't do anything,
Right.
You make a good point there. Thank you. Well, does anybody else have any final thoughts there? All right. Well, we're going to put a fork in it then and say thank you again to our sponsors. When you see this video, go to YouTube, click on more, and it lists all our other sponsors. And it would be very helpful if you use that hyperlink and help keep us on the air. Until then, leave a comment if you would have a topic you'd like us to cover. Until then, we'll see you.